Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, this is going to be more or less kind of a meme video. I just wanted to showcase one of the new primordial uniques coming next patch, and that is the Butcher's Crown. Simply put, it gives you Frenzy, and it has increased effect to that Frenzy, so like this gives you 40% increased attack and cast speed, 140% increased damage. You cannot regenerate mana, and you lose health per second, but you gain a lot of life and some mana on hit per 12% increased mana regen up to 4 times every 2 seconds. This is really absurd because right now we would have like I think like 30-ish mana regen, 35, 36 or whatever. Right now, as it currently stands, this helmet is representing around like 80 to 90 mana per second currently with my current setup. You heard that right, 80 to 90 mana. And to give you an idea of how crazy that is, Avalanche right now, the mana cost of Avalanche is normally 45 minus the 8 points here, right? 8 there, and then minus 5 from the wand. So that's minus 13. So it costs 32 mana to cast an Avalanche normally. So, and we're getting like almost 90 mana per second. That's 3 casts of Avalanche per second just from, Butcher's Crown and all of our mana regen stacking, right? So that means that we are at very close to mana parity with just casting avalanches. I've made a lot of videos in the past about Avalanche, and people really dislike transform swapping. It's like one of the main ways of sustaining the mana cost of Avalanche currently, as it has a very large mana cost. But people really don't like that, and this is the way around that. People have been asking, hey, Dread, how do I play without Avalanche, like with transform swapping? How do I play that? Well, here you go. This is it. You can do this. Now, do you actually need this much mana regen? No, you probably don't. You can probably remove some mana regen and then like maybe transform swap after 40 seconds of casting Avalanche or whatever, or you can just simply use swipe. We are utilizing swipe with this current setup because we're dual wielding to get all that extra juicy crit multi from swipe here, because we get a lot of crit multi just by using swipe, right? Just a little bit. And we also get mana from using swipe. You're obviously wondering, well, where's your attack speed for it? Well, we got plenty of attack speed thanks to Butcher's Crown, right? Butcher's Crown and of course Warcry will give us plenty of attack speed. And in theory, you could just simply, just dump a little bit of mana regen. You don't need this much mana regen at all, like if you're okay with just using swipe every so often. But Butcher's Crown allows you to kind of reduce the downtime that you would normally be introduced to when playing like an Avalanche build, because one of the biggest problems with Avalanche in general and these primeless big spender mana builds is you spend a long time sitting in like Spriggan form waiting to do something, right? And this pretty much removes that entirely or reduces it significantly to the point where it's no longer annoying, because having to transform out of like Spriggan form every like few seconds like is kind of annoying. I do agree. But now we have a way of actually casting avalanches without running out of mana. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. The power creep has gotten so far that we can actually just cast Avalanche and be fine. Now, there's some other stuff that we can do. Like I said, we're stacking attunement to get as much mana regen as possible from here. Like we just have a lot of attunement on our gear. It's a lot of percent damage. This also has a lot of percent damage. This also has a lot of percent damage for the levels, right? And then all we got to do then is like cap our crit. So we can just run crit here, run crit here, run crit on Warcry, run crit here as well, and we can cap our crit thanks to being able to offhand an axe for an eagle wing for the 4% base crit, right? And it also gives us access to armor shred, so we don't have to sacrifice the suffix anywhere else, so we can end up getting close to crit cap. I'm pretty sure I'm very close to crit cap with this current setup. If not, you can just like get a little bit of extra crit here and there. But that, we're capped on crit. We're capped on like we got plenty of percent damage. We have plenty, like a bajillion crit multi. We can have enough cast speed thanks to Butcher's Crown, by the way, because we're getting like 40% cast speed just for existing. I think a lot of casters will actually start utilizing Butcher's Crown in the future because getting access to 40% cast speed on a helmet is crazy. There's a lot of like mages that don't have access to Frenzy that could utilize this. Like obviously, the mana stuff is annoying, but like, if you're a sorcerer, are you actually using your mana regen, right? Like, who cares? And there's like a lot of different ways of abusing this. And just the stat sticks that it has is pretty good, right? Like 40% attack speed, 144% increased damage just on a helmet like that. Like, that's crazy. Obviously, it's a primordial, so you probably want to be benefiting from the mana and the life gain on hit and stuff like that to make it actually function in like a end game build concept. But still, yeah. And of course, we'd be going cold avalanche, right? Converting it to cold, getting all the extra more damage here and stuff like that. Like avalanche is an okay skill. Now you could just swap this out with like tornado. You could swap it out with earthquake, a spell earthquake, melee earthquake. You can use anything that costs a lot of mana. You could probably play this on mage and do it with like frost claw and try to like sustain a frost claw that way instead of having to stack a bunch of mana for sorcerer. This would be good for like specifically like rune master. You could use this, like, there's a lot of different ways you could use this, like, this isn't the only way. It's just shaman gets the absurd amounts of mana regen possible to like kind of push it to the extreme, to like the point where you're like 90 mana per second, right? Like, it's a lot of mana. I have played this kind of avalanche build before on the channel. I'll be leaving a link down below the description. I did a whole 0 to hero run where we played just avalanche utilizing swipe for mana, and it worked just fine. Not many people liked it, and not many people like the transform swapping too, but hopefully they like this, because this is a way where you don't have to use swipe, you don't have to use transform swapping, you just simply have to invest every single piece of your gear into mana regen. And all of a sudden, you do not have to actually, transform, you don't have to use swipe. The only reason we have swipe is just because it gives a bajillion crit multi just for existing and more damage as well. And we like more damage with our avalanche, because avalanche, it may seem like it does a lot of damage, but because of the cost of the mana, right, it ends up actually not being that much damage in theory in comparison to other skills and stuff like that. Also, as well, it doesn't have the more damage modifiers on the tree to make up for having that much mana cost, but just trying to force memes to work, right? I'm really excited for next patch. Just being able to take one item like this and completely revive a dead archetype for the most part like this is really exciting. Like, I'm really excited for next patch. Like, this is gonna be great. Like, primordial uniques are gonna really spice up the game in a way where like you can really push something to the absolute extreme if you want to. Like, these items are pretty much what I've been wanting for a while, a way to push the meme further. If I want to play an avalanche build where I don't have to transform swap, I don't have to use swipe for mana, I don't have to do any shenanigans, all I do is just I invest honest to god gear, honest to god affixes, just affixes here, right? Just putting affixes everywhere, running mana regen everywhere. All of a sudden, I'm allowed to cast avalanche without being annoyed as hell. But yeah, that's simply put. I'll be leaving this down below. With all that being said, this has been Dread. I'll have to go do something else. Do not play this build. This is for fun. Bye.